Well, that was the scariest movie I've seen in a long time. I'll start by saying I don't get scared by movies. Haven't since I was a kid. I may get creeped out by certain scenes or elements or shots, but never actually be like scared or creeped out during a movie. And this one I think fucking did it. And that is Terrifier. Which, from what I'm hearing, it's that effect for a lot of people. This came out in 2016. It's a spin-off of the anthology film All Hallows Eve, which I believe this leads up to All Hallows Eve, which I have, but I'm saving that for my anthology month for October. This is on Netflix and wanted to see it anyway. I couldn't wait. It's not an anthology, it's a feature-length spin-off. Written and directed by Damien Leone, who I believe, yeah, he also did do All Hallows Eve. Now, in All Hallows Eve, Art the Clown was played by Mike Gianelli. However, in this, he's played by David Howard Thornton. And he was found... I'm not sure how he... Oh. Well, he went into audition and he got the role by improvising a scene by killing someone in mime. Because that's the thing, if you watch my channel, you know I'm not a fan of clown horror movies. I mean, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is just a fun movie. I've always found overrated, old and new. I know that's blasphemous, but I do. Clown, Eli Roth, okay. I like it, but it's nothing I love. Stitches with Ross Noble, I really do enjoy. Terrifier, I could say I love. This was a fucking awesome, awesome movie. It was released through Dread Central Presents, which I'm not sure what else they have in their catalog. If it's more films like this, then fucking yeah, I would love to see what else they have. Book of Monsters, Director's Cut, Extremity. I've heard of these. The Lodgers, Terrifier, Sleigh Bells, Zone of the Dead. To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story. I've heard of these, but I haven't seen them. Now, that being said, not being a fan of clown films, Mime, on the other hand, mimes I think you can actually do some creepy stuff with. In fact, one of my favorite episodes of Tales from the Crypt, season 7 episode, God, what is the name of it? The something, I can't even... The Thief, the Abductor, the Snatcher. Can't remember what it's... The Sitter, maybe? It's one with Stephen Root, where he pays to have his want-to-be girlfriend's baby kidnapped. And they're kidnapped by mimes. And the scene's very creepy. There's this music whenever the mimes are around. But David Howard Thornton, holy fuck. You look this guy up on Google. He does cosplays as Joker, especially from Killing Joke, the Hawaiian shirt. There's a video of him from 2011, dressed as Joker, doing an excerpt from The Killing Joke. Mark Hamill's voice, it's up there with Troy Baker for how good his voice is. Can we give this guy I know the nose, cheekbones, and chin is prosthetic, but his normal face structure and voice and charisma put this guy in an R-rated Batman movie with Joker. Him or Richard Brake, Doomhead from 31. Those are my top two candidates for Joker. An R-rated, gritty Joker. And I agree with one of these quotes on the cover. Makes Pennywise look like Krusty. I know it went out. And that's true. Pennywise scares children. Art the Clown scares adults. And I think he's way scarier than Twisty from American Horror Story. What this is, and there is a sequel, I think, coming out this year. In fact, there's an interview at some con with the director Damien Leone and Damien Howard Thornton in full makeup. And during the whole interview, Leone is talking about Terrifier 2, and Thornton is just miming everything that he says, which, he really puts on the character. And you can tell he's having fun. He's just letting loose with it. We open up with this girl on a talk show, and her face is mutilated. And then the girl mutilates the talk show host for some reason. And then we jump to these two girls. One looks just like Neve Campbell from Scream. Her and her blonde friend in the sluttiest costumes you can imagine. Scarecrow and a skeleton. They're drunk. They're walking around. They stop in this diner. And in walks Art the Clown. And, well, actually, first I want to say, this is a movie, just look at that font. That's a great font. This is a movie, it's not just a slasher, it's a Renaissance slasher. Meaning, it's really meant to emulate the 1980s. It's like what Hatchet did for, the backwoods, hillbilly killer, like Madman or Friday 13th, really on the surface Friday 13th. Or like The Hills Run Red or Behind the Mask for the slasher genre as a whole. Stitches, even Gutterballs, as much as I hate to say it. This is a Renaissance slasher. But it has the look of All the Boys Love Bandy Lane or even Grindhouse. It's got these color filters that really make it look like it's shot on film from that time. It's got this gritty look to it. So it really does feel like it's from the 80s. Another thing I absolutely love is that during the opening credits, when Terrifier comes up, you have the little copyright stuff underneath it, like old 80s slasher or horror movie title screens. So Damien Leone certainly is a fan of classic horror, and he did a wonderful job at making this, really emulating the 80s slasher feel. As did All the Boys Love Bandy Lane. I like this more, even though I like that film as well. Sort of like how Begotten in 1989 really felt like a 20s silent film, German expressionist film. So they're in this diner, and what's great about this movie is, even if it's just little scenes, he goes in the diner, he sits across from them, he's just staring at them, but then he'll do his... And of course, he's got rotten teeth, black gums, black lips, so everything really stands out. Black around the eyes, so his rotten teeth, his gums, and his eyes really stand out. But it'll cut back to the girls, and then when it cuts back to him, he'll be doing like a more evil face. Like he's already, camera will just cut to him and he's already in that frozen pose. That goes throughout the film, and that's, to me, those are the creepiest parts of the movie. When it just cuts to him and he's already doing something. He gets thrown out because, well, first he gets a ring out of the machine, gives it to her, goes to the bathroom. Owner kicks him out. We find out it's because he smeared shit all over the walls and wrote art. Girls get back to the blonde girl's car. Her tire slashed. The Nev Campbell girl, should probably get her name instead of calling her that. Jenna Cannell, who plays Tara. It's spelt Tara, it's pronounced Tara. Tara's my mother's name, and it's not spelt like that, so I call that Tara. So I'm gonna say Tara. But calls her sister for a ride. They're in front of this like abandoned apartment building, which is where Art's hideout is. There's an exterminator there overnight. She lets Tara in to use the bathroom. And he's already killed the guys at the diner. All the kill scenes are creepy. And over-the-top gore with practical effects. Thank you. I mean, yes, Hatchet and Gutterballs had practical effects. Stitches had practical effects. Yes, Gutterballs was over the top, but this was a good movie. I'll probably say for all the years I loved Hatchet, of those kinds of films, those kind of Renaissance, 80s throwback, homage films, slasher films, this has got to be my favorite. The blonde girl sitting in her car, we hear the door open. She's like, you're not going to hear what I just heard on the radio, which was about the murders. And when the camera cuts, it's just him, like. And then the rest of the movie takes place in this apartment building. Mostly down in the parking garage. It's this cat and mouse game between Art and Tara. And it's really creepy. I mean, you get the idea that he really, well, sort of like Pennywise, but, he knows he's creepy. He's probably doing it to entertain himself, really bring the fear out in people, just acting goofy and silly, like whether he's prancing around or doing his faces. Like when Tara goes to leave, she looks up when the camera cuts to him. He's already in the building. He's like, those are still the creepiest shots of the film. There's this other older woman there who's fucking crazy. She has a baby doll that she thinks is real. And I'm going to get into spoilers. I'm not going to go over everything, but the ending will kind of spoil or maybe mess up the rest of the movie. So I'm going to say spoilers here. If you thought It was scary, go watch this. It's on Netflix. Even if you don't like clown horror movies, like if you're like me, you think they're just clowns, dolls, and puppets are just really cheap ways to be like, oh, people are afraid of that, put that in there. It'll be scary no matter what. This is not that. This is a good, scary movie. I recommend this. I don't remember the last movie that I recommended this highly. I loved Terrifier. I fucking loved it. But anyway, so spoilers here. The scene where he's down in like the hallway with the baby doll and she comes up. One, I liked the part where he goes to shush her, but it sounds like the hissing of a pipe if that's true, that's a great touch. She thinks she can subdue him with the touch of a mother, so she like touches his face, which it looks like he enjoys it a little too much. Then when she like holds him, he just starts to like suck his thumb. And it doesn't show what happens to her, as it shouldn't. I'm glad it didn't. We see the aftermath later, which sometimes it can feel like, oh, kill her off screen, okay. But there's plenty going on here that, you know, we can have an off-screen death and see the aftermath. But first, we have to talk about the big kill. When Tara wakes up and she's tied to a chair, her blonde friend is tied upside down, naked. Well, she has her underwear on, then he rips it off. And he takes a chainsaw and he cuts her from vag all the way down to her head. And I mean, we see shots from like behind with it like going through her ass almost. She's alive through most of it, but it's just like, damn. I mean, we saw on Chainsaw Massacre, the remake, Hatchet 2, people getting chainsawed up through the groin, but never like upside down like that. Awesome. I mean, we see the intestines spill out. Eventually, I already forgot if I mentioned this, but she does call her sister for a ride. Eventually, the sister does show up. And I thought this scene was really creepy, too. She's walking through the building, and she sees this woman scalped and no skin. But there's this other woman laying there with black hair. Appears to be woman's skin. And she's like, I'll help you, I'll help you. When she lifts her head up, it's Art. He's wearing tits. And he's got a slender frame. So, kind of pass off. But, you know, he's wearing, like, the tits. And he's walking around naked. And he's wearing her scalp. He's still got the makeup on. He's chasing her around. Oh, and the woman that was scalped was I believe it was the crazy mom lady. It's like he's chasing her, but he's doing this, what he perceives as like a sexy walk that's creepy. Like he's just kind of, and just the way it's lit with the dim lighting or the red lights and the music, how a lot of this film, like 80s films, is shot from far away. There's not a whole lot of close-ups, especially during scenes like that. You know, that's another thing I like in the diner, when it shows him sitting across the way, the camera is on, like, their table. They're still in the shot. He's far away. I like that. We do get some close-ups of him. But, you know, like, when he's first doing that, like, sexy walk, he emerges from like the black darkness and just the red light and the darkness, how it just hits him. It's really unsettling. And just when we see him in full frame, the way he's just like walking and really unsettling. She hides in like a locker with a little hole, and the way we see him just kind of violently shaking it, hair going crazy. Other deaths, I mean, he like stabs this other guy in the head, cuts his head off. And it's really one of those movies where even when he's out looking for her after she's been hiding, no matter where she goes, it's like you don't feel safe. Like you're always just like, he's gonna pop up anywhere. Which is what a good slasher film should do. And of course, he's outside. Well, first, even more like the clowny type stuff. Like, there's a part where, because every door in this building's fucking locked. She's up at this door, nowhere else to go. And he's just kind of riding around on his tricycle. I like how he has that little tiny top hat. And, you know, he's trying to reach her through these doors that are chained so he can't quite get through. but he's got this horn that he's just like honking in her face. So it's, you do have some clowny elements, but I love the design. It's just black and white suit, very a minimalist suit, just like quarter black and white, black, poof balls. Love the design of the makeup, the cheekbones, the chin, pointy nose with a dot instead of a red nose. Just plows through in a truck, hits her. He's presumably eating her face when the cops show up, blows his head off. And then they're in the coroner's office. The coroner unzips the body bag and he's got this great big smile. Everything goes nuts, lights and phones and radio, and then he's alive again, and he kills him. So, I did read online that this is why I said spoilers, because it does kind of take away from the fact that, okay, he's not a serial killer. He's not a human. Maybe he was, now he isn't. He's some sort of demonoid. I guess we'll find out with Terrifier 2. But then at the very end, it says 1 year later, and the older sister was the girl with the messed up, mutilated face from the beginning. Because we see with his victims, like he takes a knife and he hacks his victim's face all up. You can kind of make out triangles and a smile. He'll put he's making jack-o'-lanterns out of their faces, essentially. Which I thought was another nice touch. Definitely for the clips I've seen in the cover of All Hallows Eve, this guy is Art the Clown. Looks much better. His performance is much more, creepy with the movements, more believable as a mime. I'll check out All Hallows Eve when October comes. And he really does put Pennywise to shame. I'm sorry, but he does. I liked it when I was a kid. And for all the people saying, Pennywise, he's an evil entity. He's a omnipotent being. He could just eat Art. It was like, well, now he's a demon, so probably be a fair shot. I also like this other one that says up there with Freddy, Jason, and Jigsaw. Maybe, but I like to keep the Universal monsters together, the Hammer monsters together, the ones from the 70s and 80s together. I probably will do like who I think would be like the modern, since 2000, strictly since 2000, who would be the new faces of horror. Definitely him, Billy the Puppet, even though he's not really the killer, but the face, Victor Crowley from Hatchet, the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. Say who the next group is, because 70s and 80s, we got Michael, Freddy, Jason, Pinhead, Chucky, Leatherface. So as far as the newer ones go, Art is definitely one of them. I've heard people say iconic already. Don't really know if I go as far as saying iconic, even though he deserves to be. But I fucking loved this movie. Everything from the fact it's a mime, not a clown. I like that idea. Practical, gory as fuck effects. Not just a Renaissance slasher, but really with the way it's shot, the grain, the feel, the atmosphere of it, really feels the opening and closing credits. Feels like an 80s like you're watching an 80s slasher on VHS. And I love it when filmmakers try to do that. Love it even more when they get it right. So even though it is like Hatchet, Gutterballs, Behind the Mask, and Hills Run Red, it's more not just that kind of story and look, but it's shot that way, like All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, where it's got that gritty look and just that the color contrast filters and everything. This was such a breath of fresh air. I loved this movie. Fanboarding out, that was the first time I've ever seen it, just now. I love this movie to death. I thought it was fucking great. I love movies that emulate things from the past, especially when they're done right, and this one fucking nailed it. Can't wait for Terrifier 2. Get David Howard Thornton in a R-rated Batman movie as Joker. And check out his Killing Joke video too, where his Mark Hamill voice is perfect. But I loved Terrifier. Let me know what you thought about it, and thank you for watching.